is the minutes from July 22nd. Anybody? There's a little nugget in there. Let's see if anybody caught it.
Yeah, I like my correction that it was July 22nd instead of.
Yeah, darn, yes. Yes. Anybody else have any comment? Hi, Ryan. Let's see, sneak in. No, got a motion to accept the minutes with the change that the minutes will reflect that it was the July 22nd meeting, not the July 2nd.
So moved.
All right, second?
Second.
Kevin, okay. All those in favor signify by aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the ayes have it. And this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 0. Since Mr. Hoffman is on vacation. And let's see here. And Kevin Shawn is seconded. All righty. There will be no updates from Randolph. Well, that is the update.
That's the
There is
update
no
from Randolph.
That we will be, he's probably doing that so he doesn't have to come to music on the main. That's probably it.
And that's pretty excessive.
What was her name? Abigail, I think?
Abigail.
She came last year in the pouring down rain.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Was it
2
last
years
year?
ago, rain.
2 years.
2 years
Two
ago.
years.
Holy mackerel, so that means Randolph didn't make it last year.
I can't speak to that. I don't recall.
We might have.
No, last year was outside.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
last year's weather was good.
In the firehouse, and it was
Yes, that's right, 2 years ago was Abigail came, that's right. I think you had mentioned you had never been on the tour of
That's
town.
correct.
So, I have a sheet that we could pass around. There are some dates and times on here. If you could indicate with an X which date maybe you could be available, or which dates, by your name. Have you been on it, Glenn? You have. No, I'm not
Yes.
asking. Kevin, you have. Brian, have you been on it? You interested?
Public Works Department?
Well, it is, it's all the public works, all the facilities of the town.
So you get to see the well.
Where the pumps are.
it's really cool.
Yeah. You even get to go, well, into the water pump.
Walnut Grove.
Walnut Grove. We don't have chestnuts.
We still need somebody to teach us how to harvest that, so, to make a fortune in walnut.
I don't know about a fortune. I'm not sure it's been really.
Cover the taxes on the land.
maintained to that degree.
Thinned out. Yeah.
Walnut Grove makes me think of Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
I am going there this time next year. We're gonna do the Little House on the Prairie tour.
I did that
Ryan's
when I was
got
in law school, because I went to law school in Minnesota,
Minnesota, okay.
Minnesota,
Were you in St. Paul or Minneapolis?
Minneapolis.
Better, but still. Yes, nice area, especially this time of year. Okay. In general, what they were offering is a couple Saturdays, or there was 1 week that he had in there. It takes about an hour and a half. But it really is pretty cool. You had, we're a little small town, and surprising the amount that goes on to keep a small town going. Let's see here. The next thing I have, which I did not have on the agenda, was, I'm not sure if you're aware or not, but there has been some discussion, and I think there was actually a vote on it at the town council, of the old fire hall next door being converted into apartments for two, it's very funny the way it's worded in here, two bedroom apartments. But it says two bedroom apartments for each. So, but it's intended for 4 people.
That's my understanding, yes.
And they have a grant that they are submitting a request, and they want any letters of support. And before I wrote a letter of support, I thought I'd put it out in front of the rest of the group to see if there were any comments, thoughts, objections, support.
The purpose of it is for lower cost housing for fire, either volunteers or, I don't know if it's limited to the volunteers or would include the paid, I don't really know. the genesis of it was not just here, but a lot of places are having a lot of trouble getting folks to work in their volunteer departments. And housing costs are one of those issues. If you, if you're near, in the old days, everybody lived in town and worked on fire trucks, but those days are behind us. So I think the genesis of the idea was from the fire company.
Yes.
But it was taken up pretty quickly by the council, so.
Yep. So there is an application in for a $350,000 grant, and I initially was going to go and write a response to this, but I thought that I would put it in front of the rest of the group to see if anybody had any thoughts, because I'd prefer to be able to say, we discussed it, and again, the town council,
On behalf of-
the planning commission, was in support of this. And let's see, it says here, the project description, renovation of the vacant historic firehouse into two-bedroom apartments for 4. So, yeah.
For a total, I don't think
For a
it's
total,
contemplated to
that's the word I
have
think.
2 couples in each of those little
Yes.
bitty places.
Young members of the volunteer fire company. The building will be completely gutted with new plumbing and electrical service along with a sprinkler system. And again, for those that are, well, I guess anybody in town, you hear the fire horn. So I'll be interested to see how those 4 young people will feel about that fire horn right above their heads.
Ongoing discussions on this matter.
Every so often it rears its head, but I have a feeling this one may have some traction. I think this was gonna.
In order to put it coming out of the firehouse, to let those, if they're on off duty, that they're gonna wake up no matter what.
Well, it's not like it's miles away, the fire hall
Correct.
and this building, or,
Or
Old Town, downtown,
When I first moved here, I can remember Jack Coe and others running down the street, and then the horn would go off because they all had pagers.
Okay.
So they kind of knew, and, obviously with cell phones, it's, they already know. But the horn goes off several times a week.
Yeah.
And the fire company insists, and they're probably right, that not everybody has their phone with them all the time. People turn their phone off for dinner and don't remember to turn it back on, like I do all the time. Things like that. So they want to have multiple means of communicating.
I can't argue with it. I think that it's part of the quaintness of the town, unless you happen to be living right.
Unless you happen to be waiting during a town council meeting for it to stop.
There used to be signs at the squares, it said when siren sounds, pull to the right, because to allow,
Oh, because the trucks came out, yeah, and everything, yeah.
those signs, they're long gone, but that's what, it was more to let people know,
Yeah,
there's people speeding through faster than normal.
or Jack Coe running down the street.
Yeah.
That's the Jack Coe running down the street. I have this memory of that Jack.
God love him.
Running down the street, God love you.
Wow. I'm firmly support. I think it's a great idea. All it can do is help enhance the town.
Sitting vacant now, right?
We have a number of active younger members, but they have a Union Bridge address, Westminster. They hang around as much as they can, but if they can, and they're very enthusiastic, but it's just
So
having the means, to finance to live on their
You
own.
can hear the horn over there at Union Bridge?
No.
They rely on cell phones, those guys.
All right, so I don't think I really need to put it to a vote or anything, but if I felt better, is it okay if I put, we unanimously support? I haven't heard from you, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't hear your head rattle. I thought I saw it, but okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you. And along that line, I have more paper, and that is something that I don't know, I will assume that each of you noticed, all of us were here, you weren't, but during the month of July, you saw that you got 2 pays, and it's larger money. Wasn't intended to be timed that way, but since we had 2 meetings, you would have had 2 deposits, and it's a larger amount. And then we hadn't increased it in 20 years, so.
Thank you.
So, yes, thank you, that's what I was waiting.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
But there was an item that came up when I was not in a good place, and so we had the meeting in early July, and thanks to Michelle, she kind of talked with us about what we, not an opinion, but just, you know, kind of where we stood with the issue of annexation. And I kind of feel like, since this letter, although it did come in to Gary, it is addressed to Gary and then members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. It's about the Hoff property, and I feel like I owe them a response back. And wanted to put that in front of the group to see if there was any, because in essence, it's what they are requesting is that we include this 190 acres in our plan. And I'm not sending them something in writing as a yay or nay, but what I feel like I should send them a response. And instead of making it a leading response, wanted to see, I'm sorry, it's 170 acres. I think I said 90, but 170. Yeah. But see if anybody had any thoughts or comments about responding to that.
Weren't they, their representation supposed to be coming,
Well,
That's what this is about.
yeah, what do you
yes,
wanna hear?
but that is a good question, because that's why I bring this back up. That's what I thought also, because the sequence, as I know it, is we had a meeting, might have been almost a year ago. It was a while ago.
Staff
Yeah,
and,
just the staff, and I was there, Gary, Neil, Wayne, and they broached this topic. There was nothing in writing, there was no diagrams and anything. And what my recollection is that they were supposed to come to the planning commission with some plans once they started to get some, they started to crystallize. So the concept was, we'll call it a year just for the sake of it. It was a while ago. And then they were going to come to us. That hasn't happened, but there is this document where they're asking us to include this in our annual plan, the expansion of our growth area boundary. So I feel like a response back to them, and it's our choice whether we're gonna do that or not, and we're not at that point to say yay or nay on that. But I'm inclined to suggest to them, we continue with what we talked about a year ago, is that they come in with a presentation, not saying anything, because I understand from your perspective, you probably would expect that we see blueprints and, you know.
nowhere
plans.
near
No,
that point.
Exactly.
Right.
But they can come in with a presentation of what, and not what the school did, because that was very elaborate also, with all kinds of architectural drawings and stuff, but then come in and present to us what it is they're thinking of doing.
What's their intent?
So is that kind of,
I mean, I would agree with that. We can't just add it to the growth plan without knowing whether it should be industrial, residential, right? Can't we just can't make it growth, can we?
well, you know, that there is a lot of different discussions we
Yeah.
can have on this,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, and so without knowing what
Right
they
now,
want it
it's
for,
still kind of a little bit of smoke up there in the air and.
we could say, sure, add it as a conservation district. I don't think they'd want to do that.
Well, and it's not necessarily, it's for us to ask questions, for them to tell us what they're thinking. It's open to the public, which also means that it could be, and that's my next question on this, is when to do this, or when to offer this to them. Because we could do the same thing as we did on July 2nd. We could arrange this just before a town council meeting. We'd sit on the side of the table, would be the planning commission having their meeting, and they're making their presentation to us. And the town council, whoever would be interested, could be sitting there listening to this also. Or it could be at our next meeting. I'm not locked in either way. But I feel like, because May, they wrote this letter, and I would like to get back.
Oh, sorry.
Put 10,000 of your money in
That
for
was
me.
off. I don't know how it
There
ran.
hasn't been any communication between the council or Gary and the Huff since,
No,
since,
no, it's not, it's kind of in our court,
okay.
because right now, it's not in the growth area boundary.
I think they are requesting that parcel to be included, yes.
Yes.
And the only reason to include it is to annex it.
Yes.
So we know that that's
Yeah.
the path.
It has to be in that even before they can.
Yes.
Go to the
Before they can
county.
even file a petition for annexation.
And we, you know, we can continue to work on a comprehensive plan and not include it. Or we can decide to go and include it, which means we're gonna have to do some adjusting and some of the wording and changing, but we are at that, getting to that point where we're gonna wrap this up, and, you know, we do have eyes that are watching us and looking for this, because there's one course of action if it's in the growth area boundary, and then if it's not, then, you know, they'll pursue other methods.
Expansion or inclusion of a parcel for growth boundary area, does that have to be done in,
prior to the annexation.
no, I mean, does it have to be done when we do our comprehensive master plan, or is that something that can be
Done later,
done later?
probably, but you'd have to go through the same, you would be doing a plan amendment. So you'd have to go
Okay, that's
through
what I
the
was-
same
yeah.
processes that you're going through now. So frankly, they know that they know that we're working on it, and that's why they made the request to be included.
If we don't include it, and the plan goes and gets, you know, approved by the council, had public hearing, in all likelihood, they may come and appear there, I don't know. But once we have a final comprehensive plan, that doesn't mean they can't come back in and ask us to redo that.
Okay,
Or I
that's-
guess they go to the county, because, you know, it's the county.
The annexation and the growth area boundary are within our control. The county
Yes.
would have to review that
Yes.
as part of their plans. There's a lot to it, but,
But the whole issue of annexation doesn't
No.
really come to the town if
No,
we
that's-
don't
that's the
have it.
council, that's- yes.
So the first step would be to include it in here. Well, no, I guess the first step is for them to kind of tell us what they're thinking. Because I know Dave Hoffman was there also, and we both have a little different perspective of what we thought we heard in terms of magnitude. So, not that it changes any of it, it's just that, you know, we all have thoughts and ideas. It's been a year, and you may have other thoughts. But we're getting closer to needing to have something, where do you want to go with this? Okay. So, when? Anybody have a preference, strong preference one way or the other?
I'm gonna just throw this in. The 4th, all of these dates that you have here are, coincide with council meetings.
Yes.
So assuming that works for the council members, and they wouldn't have to be here,
Yeah, they
but
wouldn't have to.
they're gonna be here anyway, so that makes sense. I would just suggest that the 4th of September is pretty soon,
Yes.
cause that's like a week and a half.
It's holiday weekend too, isn't it?
It's after, but yeah, it's like the Wednesday right after.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that to them now,
Yeah.
because I, you know, I'm.
Not only that, the gal who wrote the letter, Stephanie Brophy, actually resides in Colorado. She's a partner and she's back and forth all the time, but she's a friend of mine, I will say.
Well, I'm going there this weekend
Well,
to
you
see
can
the Orioles, so maybe I should just reach out to
Bring
them
her
while I'm
back.
out there.
I have no idea where, I just know Colorado. So it may be a little difficult for her to get a plane ticket in like 4 days. I don't know if she would be coming or not, I haven't talked to her at all about it,
You know, I don't think that.
but that's
that's
just really
all
tight
how we
time.
wanna do it, But we could, I guess we could, do we have the Zoom account? Oh my God, this
What?
brings back horrible memories. She could Zoom in.
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
Zoom.
Oh, she could.
She could.
I don't know how we're set up to do that anymore, but, I'm not even gonna pretend to know how we're set up for that, so.
Well, that's-
If
this-
we had been set up for it, it wouldn't have been unset up. It would still be
Uh,
functional.
Had some kind of membership in something that they paid for.
They had an issue?
It's a subscription, I
Yeah.
imagine the town
Another
has.
IT company.
Were you on the planning commission when we had the incinerator discussion?
Yes.
Okay. That was a
Yes.
lot to try to get that working. A lot. Okay, and rightfully so. Do we necessarily need to have a Zoom account for the planning commission to be able to do that? They didn't want to share the password or whatever the code was.
Mark, why don't we just invite them to one of our next two planning commission meeting.
Yeah, I mean, that is a choice. I'm kind of doing it with the sensitivity to the town council, who already has twice a month meetings.
There's also something to be said for not involving the council at this point.
Exactly what I'm
That's
thinking.
what I was thinking too,
Okay.
and let Dave be responsible to take it to the
Yeah.
council.
And that also does not give, how do I want to word this? It doesn't give the impression that the council is involved at this point, which they really, other than knowing what's out there, isn't. You know, and let you guys hear it and talk about it.
That's fine.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Well,
thinking.
not wanting to jump ahead too much, so our next meeting was the 23rd of September and then October 28th. And I can present that to them and see which, if they would want to come at one of those two meetings. That side of the room seem good? Okay. All right. All right, comprehensive plan review. You were gonna send me something.
You didn't get it?
No.
Okay.
Okay. And send it to my CIPE account.
Okay,
If you sent it to the other one, then I can't say that I didn't get it, but I don't have access to it.
yeah, no, I try to send like the first weekend after. Yeah, okay, see,
I can just give it to you.
Do you let Dana know the problem you're having with the towns?
Oh, yeah, she's known that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, it started with the town. They got hacked.
Heck, yeah.
So they had to cut off all those accounts and start over. And now I haven't been able to get mine reinstalled on because I only have my work laptop.
yeah, and you know, the funny thing is I almost resent it this weekend because I didn't get a reply.
That's good. Then I'll get copies for us, the old school people that would like to have hard copy to read.
We don't have the screens, so I could plug in. And let me go ahead and change the views so that you don't see all my red line and can just see, or do you want to see red line or do you want to see final?
See where we sit.
Okay. So no markup. There you go.
That link I sent you, so that
Yeah.
We scratched that one, but no, that doesn't exist anymore. No, up there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where's Scott Key, in Windsor Middle School. Northwest, that's the name of the one that you go to.
Yeah.
So the next sentence, Windsor Middle School, is gone,
Okay.
like a freight train.
Do we know those numbers or do we even care?
I don't think they, I'm going to give my opinion that for the purposes of this plan, they don't matter at all.
I would agree. That's why I asked.
I disagree. I think, now what the capacity is, I don't know, but we have, I think if somebody's looking at this like a new potential development,
Yeah.
they're gonna wanna have some sense of what the school have, and especially if we have the capacity.
I think it would only matter to me contextually in terms of how many children currently in New Windsor attend these schools.
Correct.
And so without that, yeah, and without that information,
If I'm gonna go put a new development in, and the schools here we're showing that we're at 95% capacity,
mhm,
and, we're talking about possibly 400
okay,
new subdivision, that's an issue.
But
Of course, in the 10 years before we do this again, that's gonna change.
Information's gonna be old, wouldn't you think?
It's already
they'd reach
old.
out to the school district for something updated?
They should.
So just having the capacity. And just having, not what the what the current enrollment is, which is what is the capacity.
Do
of the
we
school.
know if the state rated capacity has changed since this report was done in '05?
No.
I can look that up.
Okay,
I'll Google.
okay.
There's no way there's 12.
Yeah, this is of 2005, so I'm sure it's changed in the
Oh,
last
yeah, I
19
have
years.
another one here, Abby was going to give us new numbers.
Couldn't find them, that's why she had to leave.
That's just gonna keep asking.
So we got,
It wouldn't
Yeah, maybe.
surprise me, given the number of people that are bused from out of the area. I mean, we bus people in, it actually kind of surprises me that we bus them to FSK and not Westminster, but.
Westminster's got more people in it already.
Exactly. But that's why I'm thinking they probably bus them in from all over.
When they do plan reviews, I mean, the adequate facilities would also include Board of Education.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah. So,
unless it's an age restricted.
Development 55 and over.
And so some of the adequate facility stuff is still applicable, but not schools.
Okay, so then we have, so I will look up and see if I can find data on the Board of Ed website regarding the high school, the schools. And is it is it north space west or is it northwest? I've seen it both ways.
Northwest. Northwest Elementary.
Okay. I will change it to northwest as one word. Okay. Library, I know we had a long discussion of a few meetings ago. Let me know if you need me to blow this up any further.
Do they still let us drop off and pick up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I took advantage of that all the time. I would borrow
And
books.
Instead of May, it does offer, doesn't it? Public meeting spaces.
There was a long discussion about that, which is why I changed it from does to may.
Okay, because we don't know whether it will continue or.
Exactly.
That's right, now I remember we had that discussion, correct.
I'll have the 2023 school information.
If you could email that to me.
Okay.
And I'll just put the caveat that it's
Yeah, so,
as of 2023.
yeah, it has adjusted, and then it has like the state rated capacity. Oh, I guess that is the percentage. Example, 87.9,
Yeah, they're different.
Northwest is 82.7. 1475. I've seen new high school for a while, probably.
Okay, so we're in agreement with the continuing to use the word may for the library. Senior center,
Just add that we had one year, branch libraries in Tonytown, Middle Valley area, and we added Eldersburg, are also reasonably accessible. to residents.
okay.
You just notice, it's gonna keep this for little paragraph. And the rest is, I have it Xed out. Yeah, okay.
I would just change that 10-minute driving system. That's even nice.
Yes,
Remember, we're seniors.
Yeah.
you would be fascinated to know that based on the food poverty map, we are in a New Windsor is a food desert, given how long it takes us to get to a grocery store.
Based on travel.
Mhm.
I can understand.
Have you ever been in the Midwest?
Yes,
Or
I went to law
Southwest
school in
Texas.
Minneapolis. It fascinates me that there's a food desert rural, which is a more than 7-mile drive to a grocery store, which New Windsor is. And then there's food desert urban, which is like where a lot of people in Baltimore are, based on how long it takes them to walk.
A lot of cities.
Yeah.
There's a lot of food deserts.
But it was fascinating to find out that New Windsor is technically a food desert.
I'm fine. 6%.
Okay. Parks and Recreation.
So what is that? Is that the intersection of Main and High?
Okay.
Yeah.
We also have one at Ridge. That's a playground, like a little top lot.
Yeah, it's mentioned.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, it's another one. It's on, Early Way. Up the hill from me.
Does it have two top lots?
No, there's,
Because this is at the last sentence, the subdivision includes an additional top lot. That's the last sentence.
there's that.
Okay, so why don't I just add that it's on Overly Way?
On Overly Way, yeah.
Overly like that?
Block with a line. You sure how that's? It runs up, it doesn't look like. The LE. Oh. And then it's closer.
overtly.
I just added a comment to myself to check the spelling.
Yeah, most of them would be overly.
Mark's computer works better than mine, he just types it in.
There we go, yeah, that looks familiar.
That's, of course, now I can spell the way the computer thinks of it, but
Yeah, well, we're going to teach,
teacher.
yes. Add to dictionary, there we go.
Oh my God, writer.
I don't know who wrote this Carroll County Sheriff's Office paragraph, but it is delightfully legalistic.
Wasn't me.
It's probably out of the contract.
Yeah.
We don't longer share a deputy.
Duties and responsibilities include, but are not limited to.
So,
Because we used to,
Well, we still share a
is it
deputy.
still considered a share?
Yeah.
It's assigned.
He's assigned there and he's assigned here.
Because we don't pay the county.
No, the financing on it is different,
Yeah.
but the statement that we share a deputy, is not inaccurate.
Do we need
Do we need to have that?
to state on there that town contributes no monetary?
I wouldn't put that kind of stuff in a plan. 'Cause that can change at any time.
Arresting and committing to jail felons and other violators of statutory or common law. That is just delightful.
That looks like some AI, right?
Well, they are felons, some of them.
No, it's just ironclad legalistic.
So?
That's why I said it was delightful.
Something came out of the deputy's job description.
Probably did.
I think we don't need to put anything there about like a code enforcement officer.
We do have a code enforcement officer now.
Do we? Because I've been to town council meetings where they attended and then suddenly there wasn't a code enforcement officer. It's much like Abigail and Randolph.
Ed is now,
And I,
isn't it?
Hmm? No, Ed's zoning administrator.
Ed's out.
No, a gal named Joan Hennard.
That sounds right.
Yeah. She's just part-time.
there was some town code written, give her a little more teeth, so.
There's teeth. There's teeth. You just have to be prepared to chew.
So we've got the sheriff's office. I'll move down to state police. Do we want to add anything about code enforcement? Given the question you just raised.
Well, I mean, it probably couldn't hurt to say the town also has a code enforcement officer who is responsible for enforcement of the various municipal infractions within the town. Yeah, I can't, I can't tell what's what up there from here,
So the
so.
enforcement of the various.
How about responsible for enforcing the town's municipal code?
That's close enough. Most, it would be like most of the towns. Huh? Right.
I'll look and see what violations are. I'm assuming they're monetary.
You mean there's fines. There's also the ability in certain circumstances for the town to go in and clean up problems and then put liens on property, and I don't think we wanna do all of that. I think we just should say that there's a code enforcement officer to, cause she doesn't enforce everything, cause there are things she doesn't enforce. So if you had the town code, you might wanna just say, you know, most provisions of the town code or something like that.
Okay.
Because I don't want somebody coming in and saying she's got authority she doesn't, or saying she doesn't have authority she has.
Okay.
So I don't trust lawyers not to come up with that kind of stuff.
The town also has a code enforcement officer that I'm going to say who is responsible for enforcing most provisions of the town's municipal code.
There you go, that sounds sufficiently nebulous.
Maintain quality of life, small community.
I wouldn't go that far myself, me,
Every part of life is different.
yes.
Yeah.
Because the guy who wants to leave all of his trash on his side yard would disagree with you that she's in helping out with the quality of life.
As one of my college professors used to say, I got values, you got values, all God's children have family values. Yeah, the Addams family had values.
So then, and a movie to boot.
Is it necessary to know exactly what barrack it is or where they're located?
No. I don't think. But that's not my call. Is it called anything other than the Westminster Barrack? Does it have a letter or a number? I don't even know.
Barrack G.
Like on the police.
Yeah, no, I know what, I just don't know that.
License plate that says Barrack G, doesn't it?
Jay, well, put it in. Make us look official.
And each letter has a different city or town.
Oh, wow. I'm fine with leaving barrack G, but I don't know that the address.
Well, I would say it's located in Westminster.
Yeah, that's in the first sentence.
It takes a while to get here.
It's a state police desert out here.
It hurts my head, why is there an A?
When there isn't a B?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we can take that away.
I didn't notice that because I can't really see that from here, but, and my
Okay.
book is on my table with my water bottle at home.
Oh, no.
Mhm.
Did I give you a write-up on?
Yes, you did.
Saying how we're transitioning, now it's like push back to the end of the year,
Oh, yeah?
funding and,
Which year?
well,
I didn't ask that.
Could you, it's like, let's see this. What, like, you started listing a couple of facts there, would it make more sense to say the Windsor Fire Department, or the Windsor Fire and Hose Company #1 is located at 109
Okay.
Street?
like the building's 20 years old.
That is hard to believe.
It is really terrifying to believe.
And our new waste treatment plant.
The new one that, that needs to be revamped, probably. It's you, not me. Yeah, it does.
Fire and Hose Company
Two
number one.
ends in here.
Okay,
Good.
I think that was a subhead that hasn't been bolded yet.
That we out you for this. And he had one, and I wrote, and I said, I'm pretty sure Monroe has two ends. And then I saw it here, and I thought, oh, don't tell me I told
Okay,
him
yeah.
wrong.
Oh, so that's where they.
So they're renewing me?
Yes,
Yeah, you've been renewed, you're stuck.
I'm going into my.
but I don't know that it's necessary, given that,
Yeah, 'cause you got rid of, because above that, the police had A and B,
yeah,
and then C would have been.
Leo wasn't there then.
Yeah.
Sam Harris.
Oh, God, yes. Time flies whether you're having fun or not.
And actually incorporate that top sentence in with the Windsor Fire and Hose Company number one.
okay,
Serving an area 34 square miles.
we can do that.
Save some space.
Save a tree.
That ain't so expensive. Wait till we get Fire and Hose Company number two.
I think it's quaint.
You think it's quite,
I think we necessarily need
you know,
to
I
talk
could
about
incorporate that into the first sentence. The New Windsor Fire and Hose Company, dedicated on September 24th, 2005, serves an area of 34 square miles.
Go, gotta love a clause.
It's the lead sentence for the article. When,
You
where, and
can't
how.
do that because it wasn't the hose company number one right next door forever. And then it moved, so it's a new building.
Okay, so we need to say then
Probably just leave it the way it was, it's easier than fixing it.
or I could say the current,
I was about to get through the final sentence. You know, you could put your sentence and split it and still make it a huge run.
What's that? Includes housing, there's housing?
There's some, probably.
Yeah, we've got, well, we have, it's a bunk room, and we have locker room, shower,
Yeah.
all that good stuff.
But you don't have a pole.
No,
No dancing.
we have an elevator. Slide pole
Yeah,
down
yeah.
and run back
Poles
upstairs.
went out with Ghostbusters.
That would be, yeah, they're
My friend
actually.
knows the old firehouse over in New Bridge, she still has a pole.
She's a dancer.
The artist, the
Yeah, Joe.
studio.
Yeah.
In fact, I think, NFPA outlawed.
Oh, really? Well, I could see, I remember as a kid,
Hard to climb
Trinity
up.
Prep School had one in one of the, not every house has, at least to sneak up the steps and try to slide down.
They're dangerous, yes.
Yeah, if you don't,
Yeah, we did that once really fast. and
Yeah,
decided
you
to
kinda have to know what you're doing to do
Yes,
that.
your leg has to be wrapped correctly, most
Yeah.
kids have the foot. Based on my
Hard to climb up too.
easy to slide
They
in.
do, is it the Naval Academy that they do the grease the pole and they all have to climb up it?
Yeah.
That's the naval.
They crawl up on it.
there was a great thing about the Naval Academy's cobbler recently on the CBS Sunday morning show.
Yeah,
He was talking about how kids these days don't know how to get out of shoes. They just,
I don't think that number's right, 196
Yeah.
million.
instead of actually like removing them, they toe out of them, which means that the heels get beat up so much faster.
I don't know that that's just kids these days. I feel like I remember my mother fussing at me for that.
See, my father taught me to, my father sold shoes to get through college, and he taught me how to use a shoehorn.
Shoehorn is a valuable item.
Slip on. That's
Yeah, and now they're selling them, you know,
what
put your
they
feet
do.
in, yeah.
The Skechers, they just go, just slide right in. Bend over.
Okay, moving on from fire and emergency medical services. Public water,
I'm for it.
I think most people are.
Could I make a suggestion?
Yes,
I got the idea. See where we got 0.196 million gallons,
Mhm.
change that to 196,000.
I think that's a wonderful suggestion.
Oh, come on,
I just said.
we have millions.
No, I'm actually making the number 196,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, numbers like that make more sense in a document like this, to me.
See, I feel like the comma is confusing. Now, why won't it let me, there we go.
Well,
Do we wanna say at some point in the future require substantial improvements, or we're currently improving?
The allotment.
The supply system dates from the early 20th century, which would mean the early 1900s.
It's actually from the 1800s.
1908.
Always 1900s.
Okay, so why don't we say 1908, because I think that's,
Sounds better. Sounds longer ago.
yeah.
Yes, it does.
My grandfather helped on that. He drove a wagon hauling clay.
Oh, cool.
Why don't you say was established in 1908 instead of dates?
I like that even better.
Because it's kind of like, what?
You don't want to say parts of it actually date to 1908.
Yeah, and I want to say obviously at some point.
And not will, and at all times requires improvements.
Yeah, and will obviously.
At all times requires improvements, we just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
they're looking
And is thus
for options now.
clearly obsolete.
No, not obsolete.
You know.
Actually, it's an.
Those of us who are aging don't want to be called obsolete quite yet.
I don't think you date to 1908.
No, I don't. I feel like it sometimes, but I don't quite date that far back.
Can we call it an engineering marvel from the early 1900s?
I like engineering
And will-
marvel.
How about we just say will require substantial improvements
It's a marvel that any of it's still operating.
to maintain, what do we want to say?
Functionality.
Yeah,
Functionality, that's a good word.
That's kind of the process.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't want to make people think that it's completely fallen apart now.
Do we want to say is requiring substantial improvements?
and requires.
Okay.
Is undergoing?
I was gonna say, do we want to put like anticipated or something so that it doesn't, anybody who is looking at it, the 11 people who will look at it, at the state, because that's where they really look at these things. You don't want to say we're falling apart.
How about something along the lines of is undergoing and will require additional?
And we'll continue
I like continuing.
substantial improvements to maintain.
Yeah, some of which are already ongoing.
I don't know, it's undergoing.
And
requires
improvements are undergoing, and we'll
It's being upgraded backwards. We're starting at the end.
yeah.
We're starting at the end.
Will require ongoing.
Improvements, take substantial out.
Yeah, take that out. You can, but I mean, that has a role, it cumbersome in that spot.
Will require or is requiring?
Requires.
We gotta continue.
Yeah. Because that makes perfect sense, and wow, that's a good 10-year statement, too.
Yeah.
I almost want to add something between maintain and functionality, like acceptable or,
I like.
Maintain functionality and water quality.
well, just like what the,
I think functionality. I
as
think
the same
acceptable
political science
functionality is redundant.
professor who said all God's children got values, also said that politics exists so that when you flush it, it has a place to go. Yeah,
I think acceptable functionality is redundant.
okay,
I think if it's not functioning, it isn't acceptable, and if it's functioning, it's acceptable.
okay.
That's just me.
Is the Dennings well still new?
I think requires ongoing is kind of
It's
a
not
statement,
new. It's not
where we're
new.
looking longer picture, but if we say continuing, that means we're already
Okay,
starting, and we have got
Which is true.
plans,
okay,
not anywhere near enough.
You know, like you said, Emily, Dennings well is new, but it's not.
okay, so we will take new out.
They are, what they call about putting pumps there in spring. One time I thought I heard Wayne. They talk.
There's so many aspects of the system.
Where did my cursor go?
Who was just talking about trains?
Water storage tank.
Okay, so a 375,000 gallon water storage tank is located. How about an additional?
What's the name, where Railroad, next to the original. The next time, probably next to the original tank, near Blue Ridge Summit. Where it is.
It's near, it's
Near Kevin.
Blue Ridge, Mass.
Near Kevin, just put near Kevin,
Yeah, Kev's house.
or no Kevin.
A little to the left, we're gonna have Kev.
There's the Donald and the Kevin.
No.
One Kevin begat the other.
Do we have,
1486.
Yeah.
I think it's 1486. I can give you that number.
okay,
I got charts for you. Let's see, so where's the man? I can give you that, just got that. July 2nd.
We kid, we call it Dickerson Run, yeah.
and I feel like this last paragraph should be deleted.
Lisa's Meadow, because we told her mom we're going down to Lisa's Meadow, it's creek.
What we got up there for, mind sliding up just a minute, I want to see what we got up there. Windsor, the total water demand.
Consider whatever flows into each individual.
Looks like the demand in 2024 was,
12,500, so it went down.
No. 1486 is the, I'm pretty sure that's what the,
Okay.
20 census was. I don't have that with me, I'll let you, okay.
They're
Okay.
behind Mike Path.
Okay, and total water demand during 2024,
They have a dairy farm.
been averaging 112,531.
barn back there, land back there, still there, right?
So 1,
See all the fun ones.
2,
112, 530. Just say 112, 530.
5, 3.
No, well, I would 112. I think.
Yeah, I'd go back to the number again, 112,530 gallons per day.
Okay, 112,530
The dairy farms.
gallons per day.
And that's 2024.
Yes. And given that we say during 2024, I'm just going to say there's no reason to have 2024 in there twice.
Good point.
And then I can delete the comment to update these numbers, because we did. And then again, I question the necessity of this last paragraph.
Very few were still in.
Yeah, scratch it.
Okay. 'Tis scratched.
And the cross was really more of a caution. It was running to the old, the mill. Which used to keep the school bus in.
And then when we get into the sewerage, we have a paragraph about the final selections of treatment options and capacities being determined as of spring 2007. That's obviously obsolete.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chart that we got from Wayne last month. It is, let's see. Oh, we sections up there. Permitted capacity. It's 115,000. Yeah, 115,000.
Okay. So not,
Yeah, gallons, 115,000 gallons per day. And in 2024, 83,400 is what running.
oh, 83,400. Okay. Okay.
I definitely, town has not applied for increased allocation.
Yeah, I was going to say, given that they are not,
We got a new waste treatment plant, and those numbers are different
yeah,
than last time.
and it's not nearly approaching the permitted capacity, so why
Yeah, it is.
apply?
No, it is. You gotta have.
Yeah, there's buffers that are required.
Oh, okay.
80% capacity. You know, what would be good is to have what the number was at peak.
Okay.
That's not on the chart.
I will put,
So 92,000 is the permitted capacity, you can do that. Average flows are 83,400 gallons per day. The peak, and then the DE and whatever the state, we're allowed up to 92,000.
oh, okay, because I thought we had permitted capacity as 115,000.
Again, you can't go more than 80%.
Oh, okay.
Since we're averaging 83.4, obviously we go up.
So 92,000.
And the permitted capacity.
I'm adding a note to make this more elegant.
Yeah, I would just take out that.
Okay.
I would actually say in 2024, average flows are 83.4. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't know what goes on in that waste treatment plant.
It aligns with what I remember from the tour.
See, I'm surprised that I must have missed this section because I don't have any notes in here. And because we clearly don't have lagoons anymore.
No.
Now, I remember something along those lines from the tour.
Oh, we don't have a lagoon.
Yeah, they
Well,
could.
that next paragraph off it.
Yeah, they filled them in.
They may have said that's where the lagoons used to be,
Okay.
but they're not.
Then I will delete that paragraph.
And that new force main was installed in 94. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
Is it force mains or just pumping stations? Is it, Ryan, is there a difference between a force main and
Yeah.
a pumping station to get it over the?
You have to have a force main to get to the pump station. If it's not a gravity line. So,
And is it really new if it was installed in 94?
No. And is it important?
And is it important?
Just say upgrades is going to be made.
Is that correct? The chlorination system is in place? I don't know what goes on in the.
Now it goes through, and then like a UV light, and it's a.
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a-
So why don't we just say disinfection?
Is it the same?
Just
it's not the same.
just say made to meet, EPA standards. They just put something in there to.
A system is in place to disinfect the effluent prior to release.
Good enough.
Meeting MDA standards.
Yeah.
They have to do another upgrade shortly that they got some funding for.
Along with the new plan. Okay, systems in place to disinfect the effluent prior to release in accordance with existing MDE requirements. They have changed.
Okay.
Since there's a place with a process. I don't know much about waste.
I would say the process is in place.
And that even hard word, I don't know. Purify.
Treat.
Treat,
Yeah.
treat. That's a good word.
All treatment plant.
Covers everything.
Yeah.
You don't need to know any details,
Yeah.
which is frankly my goal.
You don't wanna know.
Um,
The effluent is processed prior to release.
Works also. I mean, of course it is, you know.
Treated effluents is processed prior to distribution.
Okay.
This is definitely something that they're doing something to it.
Yeah, that's why I was saying the effluent is processed. And I love the word effluent. It's so,
I'd like to know what we're talking
Yeah,
yeah. Well, it's just a,
A nicer word.
yeah.
I don't know that we're affluent enough to have better effluent.
Yeah.
about.
I need to dress that boat if I'm
I need to just effluent if I'm gonna be right.
Got you a subpoena.
Could be a new out that.
That's an interesting combination there. We go from the waste treatment to solid waste.
And the schools.
And then, no, then we go into twice a year, we offer bulk trash. Those are true facts.
Yeah.
All I know is the truck goes by the house with the smell. Because I guess you get this through the budget meeting, I guess we pay for that?
I'm sorry.
The guys that drive through the town with the fertilizer from the waste treatment plant?
With the fertilizer, no, I don't sit through the budget hearings.
Oh, okay. So you
No,
get-
I have long ago decided that it doesn't make any sense for the town to pay me to sit and have them discuss whether they need, 2 mil liners for trash cans, or can we get by with 1.5 mil liners for trash cans?
All right.
And I say, you guys don't need to be paying me to listen to this. So I don't know anything about who pays the fertilizer man.
You know who?
What's that?
The guy with the green vehicle that goes through taking the waste from the waste treatment.
Sludge disposal, right? Is it sludge?
That's what I like to do.
Yeah. Do they take it into Westminster?
No, they take it out to the Snyder farm.
Oh, so they have a land application permit for it, okay.
I didn't know that.
And I
That,
think-
yeah.
I think they're the ones that pay for it. The property owner gets money
Yeah.
from somebody.
Yeah, to use-
dispose it there.
Mm-hmm.
So the town donates this?
I don't know how the town's involved in it.
What do you use, like a subsoiler?
I will ask somebody on the council.
Yeah, you might be able to find somebody you know.
This is budget stuff. I'll have to go.
No, I mean, yeah, who wants to know that? I don't wanna know that.
They would know. They would hear you. Okay, I'll find out.
See, it's minutia like this that makes me sad I left.
Where are
I guess we don't put, need to put in there about yard waste?
I just think that's an interesting segue, because we look at an awful lot out of that section, I see.
That is actually a good question. Do we want to include anything about yard waste pickups?
They change, the availability of those may change, the cost to those may change, if the county changes what they're gonna charge. Yeah, I don't know how much of that kind of stuff really needs to go in a long-range master plan. We're gonna try and get rid of our crap. That's just my opinion.
I will say that I would recommend taking away everything after this comment, this comma, with regard to the for fee residents have access to the county landfill. We don't need the address.
No, I don't think so. Follow your nose.
Google is a thing that exists.
Yeah.
Well,
Everywhere.
where things are located throughout this whole thing,
Yeah.
why would we exclude that one?
Well, we've taken away all the other addresses, like we took away the address of the barrack, the police barracks, et cetera.
Well, they say we have access to the county landfill in Westminster.
Okay,
I think they would call it the northern landfill.
Yeah, that's its official name.
Yeah, northern landfill.
okay.
Minister. Sure there's enough eyes in there.
It's gonna be there for a while, because they bought, the county bought a bunch of land
Yeah.
adjacent to it.
I do remember this discussion.
Yeah. And actually, my,
Yeah, I think, property going through Reach Road, I think, kind of east, yeah.
I don't think they accept tires.
No, nobody accepts tires.
It's on here, it says Carroll,
No, it is darn near impossible to get rid of tires.
yeah.
I had a client who had that issue, so that's why I know a lot about that.
Gas station, they use tires to burn for heat. Lovely stuff.
Burn tires in the old kiln, top of the eye.
They did for a while, and relatively recently, you know, we're not talking 60 years ago.
and now I'm going to show my age as a Gen Xer and talk about the tire fire in The Simpsons. That's a running gag.
Oh, I
Oh, yeah.
don't know the Simpsons, so. I don't really, I mean, I know enough that I can answer the crossword puzzle questions, you know, Bart's mom.
No, there's a running gag about the rival town to wherever The Simpsons live. I can't remember the name of that town that has an ongoing tire fire.
Oh, yeah.
The county used to have a tire pit. It was in an old abandoned like quarry or something.
Out the old man, or out the
Out
bottom
with-
Valley Road,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's,
Really?
yeah,
Wow,
I had to clean that up.
yeah, it's not there anymore.
it's a fortune to clean that stuff up, just a fortune.
Did hear a trivia that Simpsons only have 4 fingers.
Almost all cartoons only have 4 fingers.
We got something about it's easier to draw.
Yeah, you can't draw them or something.
The town likes the community center, especially since they took the school away.
Yeah.
I guess when you switch computers, because you lost all of them. Because that's a whole new section now.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of stuff here that seems to be redundant about sharing police services with Union Bridge and the fire and EMS. And we have that already here, so I'm wondering why we have it again.
We do have the use of the community room in there, don't we?
That was, I remember, as a long discussion about whether we do or we don't.
I mean, it's not really a community center per se, but. Since it took the school.
Yeah.
I like that.
Especially since, yeah, you gotta have the especially in there.
Oh, really? Go up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the analysis of community needs, that's the section we're now in.
Okay.
Those following, the scoreboard, it's page 98.
Yeah, that's not to be out of control.
Right.
Plus the county board of education.
Okay. Do we want to say Carroll County?
Yeah, sure. Oh, we talk about the
The trail, the green
At one
space
time,
connected.
they were supposed to follow Pipe Creek from Westminster.
Well, it was gonna be a rail trail kind of thing.
Like a rails to trails or whatever they call those. Oh, it's probably still in a file box over there somewhere.
Should have built a trail next to their conveyor belt. Great.
Oh, yeah.
I bet.
There's spiders, that's not,
Boy, I haven't heard any talk about that.
yeah, that,
Lehigh and Ripken were a big part of that, but that's gone.
what's that?
Okay, so I will take away the old lagoon area.
There's been talk about Ripken putting a field there
Oh, yeah.
years ago.
Oh.
and Lehigh was gonna
Cal was gonna do it.
It's some foundation they've got.
When at Ripken?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why 10-year-old. I've heard anything but that. Probably been 10 years since we got those free plans from the state of Maryland.
Could very well be.
No, and then,
Drew up plans. 15,000 seats.
Don't go there.
You wanted to put a green in, Windsor?
One person had that idea.
Some people are big thinkers. Some people are visionaries.
To get people here. And then the worst thing would.
There's no road, there's no place to eat. They'd be stuck.
change their prescription bill, you can't. You might be able to get a banana at 7-Eleven for $2. I think I've seen bananas and apples there.
7-Eleven, they stopped carrying half and
How do you live?
half. I actually complained.
Well, you get milk.
And you get cream and you just mix them together.
They had.
I was gonna say, they're more likely to have half and half than heavy cream.
Yeah, they didn't have cream.
Even Aldi's half the time doesn't have heavy cream.
They had the flavor, they had all the flavor.
Hazelnut and all
And
that.
that's not even milk, that's,
No, God knoes what that is. It's corn syrup solids.
yes.
Comes from the waste treatment.
It might very well.
What do we, does anybody know where that came from on the community center? Or somebody?
That was I remember the discussion, we talked a lot about that, especially since the middle school closed, there was no community center. It's a need in the town and that it could be something that the library serves, but that the library has been reluctant to allow us to use the community rooms of late.
So why not just, instead of antagonizing somebody, just say the town likes the community center?
Okay,
I think that's more prudent. It's not as much fun, but it's more prudent.
Seems to be used when the county is rehabilitating their offices in Westminster. Permits and inspections for, they were in there for
For a while.
several months,
Yeah.
Analysis of community needs, could you put in there, food,
A grocery store.
a pharmacy,
Or there's a grocery store that has a pharmacy.
a doctor, yeah,
A doctor, yes.
yeah, a doctor, or at least a, well, we gotta use words, physician assistant.
I will say it was fun when I was going through my health issues to have to drive all the way
Oh, I have.
to Frederick to get any care.
You have to get anything.
Had to go to Harrisburg.
All right, you win.
Yeah. Well, and the more complex you are, the farther you have to go.
Yeah, no, I just needed an oncologist.
I just needed a transplant.
Yeah.
18 months already. 2 weeks ago for my 18-month checkup.
Oh, you look great.
Unbelievable.
Oh, and, yeah, and Humphreys, entire state.
So I know there were notes there.
Yeah,
Got rid of them because it was addressed somewhere else?
yes.
Okay.
But we did, the one that remains is the sewer is a bigger issue than water because of the economics of putting in a new plant.
Yeah, it's just,
And it's not as simple as a new plant. They said we can't put any more in Dickinson Run.
yeah.
Okay.
The
Let me just,
complex, requirements of expanding the system. Cause yeah, it's not just what it costs you can, you can treat it, but you gotta have someplace to put it.
not,
Our stream isn't big enough for barges.
Cleopatra rowing down.
I'll come up with some
Yeah, it's
language.
okay.
So,
Could be, wow,
coming in on.
the water were nearing capacity
So, yeah.
with existing sources.
Where'd you
There
go?
are options that are being
Oh.
explored.
Where they want to know?
Waste treatment creates,
Johnson City.
there are complex requirements limiting the expansion of the current system.
Yeah, that,
But water is an issue, but there are options that are being explored.
Complex with the,
What did, Wayne tell us at that meeting, that only one of the wells is online, one town, the other one's not?
And there's the potential that your lease school, that there are spots there. that-
Yeah.
they have not been the most easy people to deal with.
I know they were exploring reactivating that.
And that-
But I think
that's
that's
dealing
under the
with
influence, that
waste.
there's a lot of money that has to be spent to bring some of those things back. I mean, I don't know, I'm not a tech person, but
And other wells being considered, or other options, I just say. Isn't there still the option of either piping water into the quarry?
at some point in the future, I don't think that's current.
Oh,
Because I'm sure they're throwing away a lot of water.
Doesn't New Windsor have all the rights to the quarry?
At some point in the future, I don't think it's like now,
yeah.
you know, we can go out with a straw and suck it out.
That is an option.
Yeah, I mean, it is a
There's really
potential
no wells.
future thing, yeah.
Water is much more
They
easily
created
solved.
like a-
Yeah, than sewer. And that's true across the board, that's not just
Yeah,
here.
It's got like, it's lines, it's got a line.
okay, too many overlapping conversations. Is there anything I need to capture?
Not by me. Nothing I say is really that valuable.
Oh, please.
So you got public water and sewer service,
Got fence around it.
so I think we need to separate the water from the sewage. So I'm saying, while
Okay.
nearing capacity, which one is nearing capacity?
Yeah, okay, so,
I would
well,
start
nearing
with
capacity with
sewer.
existing sewerage.
The existing.
What do we want to say, potable water?
While nearing capacity with existing sewage.
This is just notes, it's not
Oh, okay.
actual
There
language.
are not options being explored at this time.
There-
And that's where you roll in the complex requirements to
Yeah.
expand the current system.
Yeah, and then do we want to say potable water, just to be clear that we're not talking about the effluent?
Yes.
And again, this is, the reason it's in italics and highlighted is because I need to clean it up. next paragraph is gone. And I feel like this is redundant to what we just looked at. And then, let me highlight this to make sure that we get the map numbers right.
Now here, now we're down to solid waste. Don't we just have solid waste up top?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. So much of this
That's
strikes
all
me
repeated.
as redundant.
Yeah.
This is talking about, I think the difference is this is talking about what we would need.
Let's go back up to the one up top, because we could probably wrap that one up. 'Cause that one had-
So, yeah, as I look at this, I think this is, what we have is,
Well, I think where it gets
this
confusing
is
is
what
we have to do the
exists, and then this is what is needed.
Yes.
And so that's where I think the difference is.
We can still just put that under the northern landfill, that it's,
County, more of a county.
northern landfill is meeting
Yeah,
projected needs, or is considered adequate.
There was a piece that's missing from here, here in the analysis of community needs was senior center. Because it said in our last plan that while it was adequate,
yeah.
because of the expected population growth over the next 25 years, which we're right there,
Mhm.
that we needed to keep an eye on that.
So, yeah, and so I will put senior center. I think community center and senior center could probably go together, or no?
I mean, they have a lot of general community things at the senior centers. Yeah, you know, voting, vaccines, all that kind of stuff.
And do we have any information on the demographics? Like, is the town's population generally aging? Can we, okay, that was kind of my instinct. So,
I don't know if it is now that we've got the Snyder Summit.
It's gotten younger.
Yeah.
yeah,
And my neighborhood's turning. So I would
I
say.
thought that the two developments, two newer developments, not the two new developments, but the previous two, Hadley Ridge and Blue Summit were aging.
But then they will turn over.
Then we got a 55 plus
Yeah.
community is one of them, so that's part of the aging, but the new Snyder Summit.
Blue Ridge has been turning over. They had probably a dozen homes last
We're
year.
getting there. Yeah, when
what
school
happens.
starts, we'll see, but I'm up the street from, where we live, there's younger kids I see out.
yeah, I mean, there's part of me that feels like I was definitely on the tail end of the demographics of the town, but there's part of me that can also see this as a bedroom community for both Baltimore and DC, so.
I know when I'm walking the dogs, at least last year, I was seeing a lot more kids than previous years. And I would only expect with some of the turnover of the houses, we're gonna see more. I don't know what the demographics could tell us.
I live out near, the park out on Lambert. And the only time I see kids there are people, the parents driving up to the parking lot and coming out of their cars to use the park.
But that, of course, does not necessarily mean there aren't kids. Because
Just
kids
be lazy.
aren't, well, they're not outside playing like they were 25 years ago.
I know when I
I
lived
mean,
on,
my neighborhood, I live in Westminster, of course, but my house backs up onto the big open, the open space. When my kids were there were kids out there all day, every day, from April to September, and they played ball and they did all that kind of stuff. Every once in a while, you see somebody walking a dog.
Yeah.
And I know they're kids, because I see them, I see the school buses, they just don't come out.
the only trick-or-treaters we ever had at my house were the ones that came from the boarding school.
We have lots of trick-or-treaters.
I was gonna say this year, trick or treaters picked up.
Mine's hit or miss. Some days I get 0. I've had typically 4 or 5, but this year Springdale brought a bus and I had like 30 at one time.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. Yeah, so, yeah.
Yeah, no,
So anyway, I don't think we should put whether we're aging or not.
yeah, I'll just say that we lack of senior center.
Yeah, we need a community center, senior center, you can, or, you know, do it that way. Community center / senior center.
There you go. Already done.
How close are we to the end of this chapter? She asked innocently,
Too far.
because
I don't think.
Gonna get there.
I told my husband I'd be home at about 8:15 and to please have something warm for me to eat.
I have is at page 9 and 9. I think that's a good stop.
Okay,
I'm like sticking my nose into the
all right, I will
operation.
I will send this to you at your other address.
Took me about 2 years to finally get Glenn's right. Remember you had the town address?
Forever, yep,
Or Gary, I should say.
yeah.
Okay, let's see here. We got, so I will reach out to the Hawks and see, so, would it be inappropriate for me to tell them not to spend more than an hour?
No, I think that's completely appropriate. You run the meeting.
Okay. So then that next meeting, if I'll get that from you and I'll get the print.
Mhm.
We can continue, but we won't go past 8 o'clock.
Okay,
So we'll have the Hawks for an hour. So it's either gonna be at the 9:23 meeting or the 10:28. I was gonna announce the crowd feast, but it's sold out, so.
Yeah, we're sold out.
And isn't there something going on, October 4th or something?
Something.
Music on the.
There's something going on.
ha ha.
Please, everybody, you really should attend that. Have you ever been, you've been up there to that?
Multiple times.
Yeah, because that is the town's signature event. This is the mayor's last go-around as at this, and, be good to send him off with a good crowd, because he's already guaranteed good weather. So, but you drew anything else in the firehouse?
No, just,
A little disappointed at the turnout at the, National Night Out.
I think the weather had a lot.
I just don't think we have a community policeman really in our community, so that's, the message is, there's just not the same connection.
No, it's not.
So people don't necessarily.
Lucy was the last one. He was very,
Yep.
he was very, went
It
out.
was like 98 degrees, wasn't it? When that week that it was really, really hot.
It was really pretty nice.
Okay.
There was a storm that was.
Oh, that's what I knew there was some kind of weather thing we were all talking about.
And they haven't had the canine like that always brings it.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Mark Townsend got chase ones. Okay, all right. Anybody got anything else? All right,
Make a motion.
Drew makes a motion. I see Alice was Kevin.
Yep.
Kevin makes a second. All those in favor signify by aye.
Moving on.
Okay, aye. 6-0.
Block the end, you can't-
Oh, no, I'm fine.